This episode is brought to you by Ned.
This is Germany.
And this is Brittany.
And this is the Black Girl Bravado podcast.
A motivating and encouraging podcast where we focus on building community amongst colorful women alike.
Join us weekly as we sit down and have candid conversations on various topics and issues surrounding self-care, self-love, mental health and wellness, spirituality, entrepreneurship, and much more.
And trust, when we don't have the answers, we'll call on our expert homegirls who do.
Our intention is to create a safe space for growth, inspiration, laughter, and love, free of judgment, in hopes that after you listen, you're a little more knowledgeable or at least a little more entertained than before.
It's homegirl vibes here. Real, raw, and a little funny.
A lot of fucking funny.
So thanks for tuning in to the Black Girl Bravado podcast.
Let's start the show, cuties.
Hey y'all, welcome back.
Welcome back, boo-boo babies.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm good.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was busy as fuck.
Oh. What'd you
do? Friday I went to Malibu. Went to this cute restaurant called the Sunset Room. So I said, I want to start, we're going to do the alfresco dining. Because remember
really make it a thing.
Yeah, remember a couple of weeks ago, we said we did the alfresco dining at Gracias Madre and we weren't really feeling it. But since we live in beautiful Los Angeles, there's so many places that already have an outdoor dining setup. That's a vibe. And we know Malibu is
your jam.
Ting.
Yes.
So went to Malibu. The Sunset Room is very cute. It's like right on the beach.
Yes.
Food was cool.
Just cool?
Yeah, the food was just cool. So
you have to trade off.
But I think it was what I ordered. That's why there were other menu options. I think it was what I ordered that wasn't that.
What'd you have?
The short rib pappardelle.
Okay, that doesn't even seem like anything. What is that?
Oh man. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, ambiance was good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was Friday. And Saturday, what did I do? Oh, I was downtown getting flowers for my birthday and for another event that I was helping with. Flowers are expensive as fuck, but they're like the heartbeat of the event. So
okay, heartbeat.
They are, like they really make the vibe or help with the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So I was down there. It was so hot this weekend, like hot, fucking hot.
Yeah.
And Sunday, set up for the event that we got flowers for. Stood in a long ass IKEA line to get more things for my birthday. Then I came home and I was binge watching P-Valley, which is an amazing show.
Yes.
We should have talked about that. Oh well, they're being renewed for season 2.
I didn't watch it, so I have to get into it.
No, I'm saying like we could have did that as our new show.
Oh, but we can still do that
for Patreon.
We can still do that.
Like we did Insecure. But yeah, so how was your weekend? That was my weekend. It's still hot as fuck. It's the heat wave.
The heat wave?
Heat wave.
My weekend was good. I was in Joshua Tree with my boo-boo baby.
She told us all the nitty-gritty details on Patreon, bitch. We were hollering.
Yeah.
The girlies loved it this week.
Yeah. So me and my ghetto mama, ghetto girl, me and my babe, we went to Joshua Tree and did a little staycation on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday, we just had a little quarantine concert, seen Devin Tracy, which was phenom. And then, just ran around the city for a little bit before making it back home. So yeah, if you want the intimate details of my vacation, get your ass on over there to Patreon. Yeah, it was a wild weekend.
The nitty gritty was shared.
Yeah. So that was really it. Now here we are. New week, new tea.
Where we kiki with you and you kiki with we.
Welcome. So this is the part of our show where we usually dish tea about hot topics, current events, things that are going on in the world, pop culture. You won't get our tea here because we serve it over on Patreon.
Yeah, we just decided to keep our tea over on Patreon.
Period. So. Exclusive community.
What's cracking this week in the streets?
So I was a little moved by the tea going on with Lil Baby and Jada and his other baby mama. What's her name? Aisha?
Yeah.
I think it's Aisha.
Something
Aisha.
Golden on Instagram.
Yeah.
Little Miss Golden.
Something.
Something.
So Little Miss Mamas. Little Miss Mamas was on Instagram Live or on Instagram on her stories talking about how we're in the middle of a pandemic and she's taking these costly Ubers to and fro, back and forth to the grocery store to get her necessities. And in the midst,
with her and Jason.
Yes, in the midst.
Whose little baby son. First of all, the name Jason. What of all the names, why they name that little baby Jason?
Jason's okay.
It's just such an older name.
So her and JJ are dipping in and out of Ubers, being exposed to people who have coronavirus.
COVID.
Yeah, coronavirus. And she just thinks that it's a little unfair. And even, especially the fact that he's taking care of his other family, right?
Loyal and Jada.
Yes, he's taking care of this other family and doing right by them.
Jada's really reaping the benefits. This started when Jada posted the Birkin bag.
Yeah.
Last week saying that she loves waking up to the Birkin, the baby blue Birkin.
Yes. So
she's like, he's buying Birkins, but his son's not taken care of.
And
we're in Ubers.
And he hasn't paid his child's tuition. So they go back and forth on the Instagram and on Twitters about the nature of what taking care of looks like, you know. And just personally, just weighing in on this, I just feel like, sis, get your shit together. The comments were going lighting her the fuck up, saying, "Sis, boss up and get yourself a Honda."
Because honestly, with or without Jason, you need a whip.
You should have your shit together.
You need a whip.
And it's really, I mean, I don't have kids. I'm not a baby mama. I don't share children with a man that I'm not with. And I just feel like, this is my opinion. It's like, you can't use the baby and think that he's supposed to be providing for you. Like, he should be taking care of his son.
Right.
But you need a car no matter what.
Exactly. Things that I think
and a lot of women, this is what I'm going to say. Okay. Sometimes women, I don't care about the race. I'm not going to make this a race thing.
Yeah.
But women will be like, okay, but your son can't get to and from. Like, bitch, okay, wait a minute. You can't get to and from. You feel me? Or like, your son ain't going to be able to do this. Your son ain't. What?
Okay, this is how
don't make it about the baby.
I feel that, yeah, there's definitely certain things that the father needs to weigh in on. Like the tuition.
Yes.
Pay the tuition because, yes, you are responsible for his education. And
even still, maybe it's a piece of, I get it. This is a little different.
Whatever, but
this
also
is a different dynamic because she even said if your baby daddy ain't making 200 occasion. Did you see the emoji?
That's what
the 200.
She said that or little baby said.
Little baby said
little baby was like 200 occasion. They said occasion. CAJUN.
So then
occasion.
And then she did the emojis like peace sign and the way he did it, he was like, it's 200 an occasion. And she said, if your baby daddy ain't making 200, she put the emojis
occasion.
She was like, an occasion, I don't want to hear it. But it's like, I get it, different tax bracket.
For
so
sure.
you would be expecting him to do more.
For sure. And that's what I'm saying in this situation.
Yeah, pay the tuition.
He has the means to pay the tuition easily.
I'm not getting you a car, though.
200 occasion. But baby girls needs a whip with or without Lil Baby and with or without Jason. So she should have a vehicle
for self. He said he was giving me a car.
She should have a vehicle for self. And then she was like.
And he's holding it hostage.
She said the reason why he's not giving her the things is because she decided to stop fucking him. And ever since
even
she
more
decided,
reason why you need to have your own shit.
I agree because it's
you don't want to pop pussy for it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I don't want me personally. I do not want a man holding strings over me, peddling what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do. You know what I'm saying? Yes, take care of the son, but for the things that I need for self, car, home, clothing, food, I need to have those things in place.
And that's when I would just be saying,
anything that he's giving
is
going to be going to Jason.
I would be like, I'll take Jason.
It's going to be helping Jason. Now, I understand the argument sometimes when it's like, okay, if I live in the projects.
I ain't got no kids and I ain't nobody's baby mama. So
this is the thing. This is when it comes down to Jason because this is safety.
Livelihood.
If you live in, if I had a son, right? If I'm Little Baby and I'm living like in a safe neighborhood and I'm sending Jason home to the projects that aren't safe, I'm not going to be okay with that. Like, we have to have, since we're co-parenting, we have to have Jason in a safe environment.
Right.
So I understand contributing like via child support for the living arrangement to be upgraded. Not saying she has to live in the same gated community as little baby, but just something that's safe.
Right. Okay. But then I'm like, where's the agency? Where's the agency for you to do whatever it is that you want to do to get what you want to do? And it doesn't have to do with the kid.
No, and she does need to do that. But I'm just saying, even when some people are doing what they have to do, sometimes their means don't allow them to live in a safe like neighborhood.
I get it. Okay, we calling it safety.
I don't know.
But you telling me you going in and out of the Cooper and Jason's exposed. Well, get a car so you and Jason don't have to be exposed.
She should have a vehicle.
And honestly, truly, if I was a little baby, I would be like, send me my little baby. He can stay here with me, okay? Don't worry about him being in an Uber. Because I don't care about you like that. I hope for your well-being overall, but I'm not contributing to your livelihood.
And the thing that makes it personal is that she's dragging Jada into it.
And Jada said, I love her son and I really don't want to do her like that.
Right, but this has turned into her exposing Jada's hospital medical records.
But she also said that she's like, okay, she doesn't want to keep it a buck about how Jada has her resources or whatever. She was like, she's in a lawsuit. And then she said he has an allowance.
But the thing is, Jada was making money. She had the edge control. And
that's what she said. She was like, bitch, I've been about my money.
Business ventures.
Streams of income.
Yeah, streams of income. She wasn't just waiting to be scooped up by a little baby. You know what I'm saying? She has ways to make her coin. And maybe Aisha needs to take some notes and figure out, is there an edge control, a waist trainer, something, a bundle, something that you can be selling to get you into a vehicle. Because right now, you're going outside.
Whatever you can do, it don't cost little to nothing to get a little car.
Little baby claims there's a Range Rover in the garage waiting for her, but she's irresponsible. I don't know how she's irresponsible or what that looks like. But if he can keep the car in the garage, that means if you fuck up, he can put it right back into the garage. So I wouldn't be harping on the little baby's Range Rover that he has for me.
She was like, he has a car. He's been promising us that car 2 times. Girl, get over it. There would be only one time where the nigga could tell me he's giving me something and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I would be proving a point to him like, let me go get my own baby range.
I too would be proving a point.
I'm petty. I would be like, boy, bye. Keep your little range.
Keep your range. You don't got to worry about me. Me and my baby, we going to be all right. We going to live a good life.
Period. I will be having my own shit.
We're going to live a good life. Like, anything that you're giving Jason
is for Jason.
It's for Jason.
But see, sometimes women don't be doing the it's for Jason. It'd be like, it's for us.
Oh, I know.
You know?
Because if we're keeping it well, the thing is, I guess she was a little baby before he was a little baby.
I get it. And sometimes you take the L. Sometimes, and that sucks, because I wouldn't want to be the woman who was with a nigga and then he blow up like Mike Jones. You feel me? I get it. The baby vibe. I get it. But at the end of the day, what can you do now?
No, there's nothing that you can do. But I had a point that I was going to say that I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
I forgot. But.
Well, okay, so this is the thing.
I was saying, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that we know for a fact that some women do have babies by these successful men for meal tickets.
Right, the lifestyle.
We know that, but I'm saying that probably wasn't the case for Aisha because she had the baby by little baby before he was a little baby.
Right. I mean, when he was a little fetus, little embryo before he grew up. But this is the thing. He was
a little concept.
Right. Exactly.
I knew you before you were even a thought. Remember when people say that?
Yeah. But this is the thing. Despite that, at this point, the nigga's a little baby. And y'all got a little baby. So y'all ain't going to be... 200 occasion. And y'all ain't going to be together. So you got to figure out how to finesse, how to make it work for yourself. Take Jason out of the situation. You know what? That's why I couldn't be. This is why.
Couldn't be what?
I would be like, fuck you, nigga. I'm about to blow up like Mike Jones and show you how the fuck I get it. Like, I would be getting it on my own. No matter what it was, if I was working, I don't give a fuck.
And he says Jason is well taken care of.
He said all his kids are well taken care of.
He only got 2, Jason and Loyal.
Right, but he was like, all my kids is well taken care of. I take care of all my kids. Shit, motherfucker. I just see, and I'm not... And little baby seems unproblematic. He seems pretty unproblematic.
Or does he?
To me, he does.
Okay. I'm not really that tapped in, but...
I'm not either, but he seems like he would be do right about his fucking kids. He seems like he's just like laying low key. He don't be in no shit.
He's country as fuck.
She was like, even if you don't fuck with me, like Jason is in and out of the Ubers. Well, you need to go down to fucking Norm Reed's Honda and get a car. Oy. I don't like to see that. And I'm not talking about my black queens, but I want her to do better. I want to put her on a pedestal.
Hopefully, she can use this as drive to like really figure out something to.
Because people have been dragging her.
But she probably doesn't want to be in a Honda. She probably wants to be in a Range Rover
But
or
I'm
something
sorry,
of
that's
that
not-
caliber, which is a different bracket.
But
and
you're
it's
not
like she knows
there.
a little baby has the means.
But it's my means.
I get it.
It's not
I
your
agree.
means.
It's definitely. I'm not saying that he needs to get her a Range Rover. I'm not saying that at all. But we see the method that Future takes.
It's my
Future
means.
puts all of the baby mamas up in, a nice car. He gives them APs. They're well taken care of with the exception of Eliza, who's battling. Eliza and the other one, they're battling, fighting.
Eliza and Rain, baby Rain.
Yeah, they're in the other one. They did the test. They tested the two babies.
Sick shit.
They're currently trying to get what's theirs or what's the babies.
Get what's the babies. Like, get
Well,
what's
that's
the
what
babies.
I'm saying. They're trying to get what's the babies. Let me not assume they're
And a
trying
lot
to
of
get what's
times,
theirs.
you know what it is?
But Future is not even giving the babies what's theirs.
This is the thing. And
I don't know.
Two things. Because I know that there's also this component of that the kid needs to live a comparable lifestyle to when they go with the other parent, right? Like you mentioned.
Yes.
I can't be in the Malibu Hills and then go back to Skid Row when I'm with mother.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So there has to be like a happy medium. But then on the other hand, it's also like we got to watch out who we having these kids with, y'all. That's a big part of this.
But the thing is, the kids are here now, so.
The kids are here now. But I'm saying all of this plays a part. It all plays a part.
I mean, so you're saying just fuck with people who are celebrities?
No. I'm not saying that at all because I don't think that half of these bitches should have babies by Future.
No, I'm saying the celebrity. Are you saying who needs to watch out? The celebrity needs to watch out?
Everyone. Because look at baby Eliza. I mean, mama Eliza and baby Rain. You out here having these kids by these damn niggas. And it ain't just no good sometimes.
Well, I know. But sometimes people are deceptive. Sometimes.
The Decepticon.
Sometimes, because if we're sticking on Future, this done turned into.
Whatever.
Okay, so if we're talking about Future, with Joy, I think that he probably gave her the idea that, they were building. Like if Lori were to get pregnant today by Future, it was like a building. And now, but the thing is, what I'm going to put what I'm going to put on the responsibility of the woman, because I like to hold women accountable too. Look at the pattern. How did they treat the other baby mamas?
That's what I want to stick on.
How did they treat the other baby mamas? You could be next.
I want to stick.
If I meet somebody, let's take celebrity out of it. I'm just talking about a nigga off the street.
Period. The regular Joe Schmo.
If I meet someone and he has children and he's talking crazy about the baby mamas, giving her a hard time, I'm going to note that and decide that you're probably not the nigga for me, and I'm for sure not having kids by you because the way you're talking crazy about her and giving her a hard time, that could be me.
Yeah.
I want you to treat her with respect. Hopefully you guys have a great relationship, co-parenting relationship with no sticky icky, because I don't want it too great.
Yeah.
Too great where you're sliding in up in it.
In that pussy.
But you know what I mean? Healthy.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it could easily be you if you get pregnant, and I see that a lot, the pattern. They were talking crazy with the baby mama. You were right there kiki and giggling, and then you got pregnant, and now you're on the chopping block. So what I want for us queens is just to
elevate,
keep our antennas up, and be mindful.
Be mindful. That's the line.
Just be mindful because sometimes these men try to play us, but if we stay on our toes.
I don't know how Future keeps. I don't know how these women keep dealing with his
money.
Raggedy ass.
It's called money, Germany.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I was about to say your middle name. I was about to say your full name.
I'm like, whoa, hold up.
It's called money.
And maybe that's why I'm not driven by money, and I
that's
have my
what I'm
own
saying.
things.
You can't be driven by money.
You can't be. And if Future came up to me
that's what
today,
puts you in compromise. He couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole.
Period. With his enemy's dick, I would be like, what's his real name? What's his little real name? Nevadius. I would be like, no, Nevadius, no. There would be no way, no amount of money in the world would have me jumping on these sick nigga dicks.
No, no.
It just wouldn't. It would not happen. And that's, my dear, that on that.
Yeah, that's the tea this week. So
okay. Now that we have that little rant. Point
Yeah.
is, have your own. Go down to Norm Reeves
Yeah,
Honda
I
and
love
get a
her because
car.
she got her own.
Get a whip, okay?
Yeah.
I don't care what kind.
So,
What's up?
over here at the Black Girl Bravado podcast, we have a little something called a ratings and reviews.
Yes.
So, when you rate and review the podcast in Apple Podcasts, this really helps our show. We can't preach the stress this enough.
Mm-hmm.
We need you ladies to be sliding up in here. And if you don't have a lot of words, that's fine too. Like this week, someone said, this podcast makes me feel like myself. That's
the
it.
review.
That's the review.
I love that.
And I love that.
I love that.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Just as long as you get something on the board, you get your rating in there. Yes, that's all we ask.
Yes.
But we also have our mommies who come in and leave these long, thoughtful reviews. And these just make our hearts smile. So that's the one we're going to share this week. This one comes from Earl Girl.
Read it.
She said, the podcast you never knew you needed. This podcast is the perfect blend of fun, laughter, and important dialogue about health and wellness. Whenever I'm feeling lonely, I throw on an episode of this podcast and immediately feel connected and uplifted. As a young single black woman wanting the most out of life, Germany and Brittany are the homegirls that I relate to and can laugh with, as well as the inspiration I need to keep going and keep being great. These two are authentically who they are. The good energy is infectious. The resources and conversations discussed in this podcast are applicable and genuinely helpful in my everyday life. They remind me that even when I feel lonely, there are a community of black girls out there just like me, and we're all in this together. Oh, and they are hilarious. Yay. Shout out to Germany's beautiful raspy laugh. Makes me smile every time. Best podcast ever.
Yay.
Thank you, Earl Girl.
Thanks, Early.
We appreciate that.
Early girly.
And we're really thankful that we can be your comfort and your company when you feel lonely.
Yes.
Especially during this sick ass time. We don't want anybody to feel alone because we are all in this together.
And at the end of the day, you know what this podcast is? Resonance. That's why.
This podcast is the
resonance you never knew you needed.
It's the friend's house that you like hung out at. You know how everybody has a house?
Yeah.
The friend's house that they hang out at.
Pull up, pop out.
We're that house.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you for leaving your review. So there's another way to support this podcast, and that's by joining us over on Patreon. Patreon is a journey that the creatives these days are on, like the kids these days. The creatives these days are on to garner support from their community.
Yes.
We offer more of the content that you love here on a more intimate scale.
It's definitely intimate.
Bonus tea. So this month, our mid-month check-in just went up. We have playlists. We have journal prompts.
We have a book club where we do Zoom meetings.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of extra little goodies and just getting a chance to know us more intimately.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, make sure you join us over on Patreon. Again, you can hear all of the intimate details of my vacation.
Yeah, and my new therapy journey.
Yes. And yeah, if that seems like something you're interested, join us over on Patreon. The information is down in the show notes.
Yes, it is.
So last week's episode, right?
Yes.
Okay. Continuing with our You versus You series. Episode 154, that's crazy. We're already at 154 episodes.
Now we're at 155.
Yeah, that's today.
Yep.
So, episode 154, You versus You, part 5, the 6 pillars of self-esteem. The affirmation that we shared was, I acknowledge my own self-worth. My confidence is rising. So, in part 5, we talked about self-esteem, which can be defined as the disposition to experience oneself as being competent to cope with the basic challenges of life and of being worthy of happiness. So we explored Nathan Brandon's 6 pillars of self-esteem to discuss how to practically improve our self-esteem. We shared some tips to work on boosting your self-esteem and remind ourselves that self-esteem is a practice. It's not just an affirmation or an idea. And if we want to work on improving our self-esteem and maintaining our self-esteem, we have to do the daily work, beloved. It's work. Yeah. Work.
It's a marathon.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Nipsey.
To Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah. So let us know if you love the episode. If you haven't listened already, make sure you go back and do so.
It's there for you.
It's there for you.
So we're still in the You versus You series.
Mm-hmm. There's more to talk about.
There's more to talk about, which is a testament to how we really begin in our own goddamn way. So this week we're going to be talking about self-fulfilling prophecies. So what is a self-fulfilling prophecy, you ask? A self-fulfilling prophecy is when you think something will happen and then you make it happen. So a lot of times we imagine certain outcomes to happen, and then we consciously or unconsciously make them a reality.
Yeah.
And these self-fulfilling prophecies are often attempts to guard us against grief, failure, disappointment, rejection, or anything else that might be upsetting our asses. We're trying to protect ourselves from what we think may happen. And it's often so that we can kind of soften the blow, or we think like, okay, if I already processed this happening, then when it really happens, it won't be so bad. It won't be as bad. It'll be easier to deal with. But really, what we end up doing is thinking.
Making this shit come true.
Exactly.
We end up making this shit come true. The kids these days are calling this the law of attraction.
Yeah.
It's like basically manifesting. And this could be on the negative and the positive, right? Because I feel like when we say, oh, I manifested it, we're thinking about the positive, you know? And then when you think about self-fulfilling prophecy, you think about the negative.
Yes.
The bad shit that you're helping come into the reality. So yeah, self-fulfilling prophecies are commonly related to negative or unfortunate events. These can be your failures or your disappointments, and often trigger our reactions, our anxiety, our anger, and depression.
Yeah. And when a lot of these undesirable outcomes happen, they tend to like build up on themselves and gather like a momentum, which results in a cycle. And they call these vicious circles. Hey, y'all. So I'm sure the ladies here can relate when we say that the period can drag you by the ass. And somehow, me and Germany's period
have linked up.
They have linked up. Now, we know we said bad bitches linked up, but we didn't mean the periods had to link up.
Yeah.
Because now we're both being dragged by the bottom of our asses at the same damn time.
At the same time.
And it's tough.
Yeah. But luckily, our family over at Ned has just the most amazing natural cycle collection. This period soothe salve has been my saving grace. Okay. I've been rubbing this shit all over my belly and my back.
Because my neck and back.
Seriously, I really get the worst cramps, like debilitating cramps. But the soothe salve is really amazing because it's made with hemp oil and it's specifically crafted to offer functional relief of premenstrual and menstrual discomfort. It's this rich blend of potent, organic, and ethically sourced botanicals and essential oils. And the treat is it has 200 milligrams of premium CBD.
Yeah. On my first day, that's usually when my cramps knock me off of my feet.
Yeah.
And so on Sunday is when mine came knocking. Baby girl came knocking on my door. Not even baby girl, big mama.
Yeah.
Big mama came knocking on my door. And I had nothing, like no meds, nothing to just help me. And so I remembered I had my period soothe salve. So I grabbed that, put a generous amount in my hands.
The key is generous amount.
Rubbed it up in between my palms and put it all over my belly because I had business to handle. Yeah. And when I tell you that it alleviated the issue, I was shook. I'm like, oh, is this what the CBD is doing?
Period.
So
literally.
Ned.
I did the same thing on Monday.
Ned knew what they were doing with this natural cycle collection. And I'm happy about it because I do like to do the natural method because I was taking that homeopathic medicine, but I ran out of it. And so I'm like, let's see what the Ned is doing. Yeah. And it did what it had to do.
It has some amazing ingredients too, just for you guys, for your info. It has raw shea butter, lavender, rose, chamomile, coconut oil, meadowsweet, ginger, olive oil. It has the full spectrum hemp, a little beeswax. Okay. We have some sage.
It smells
some
good
lemon essential oil, some ylang ylang.
Lang.
It has so many good things. And just so you're aware, Ned is really special because they have full spectrum products that are made in small batches. It's cold extracted hemp and it's third party tested. So you can rely on the integrity for sure. And the efficiency.
Yes.
For sure that it's working. The efficacy, I think it's called.
Yes.
Efficacy. The shit's going to work. Because
Yes.
all CBD is not created
It's
equally.
not created equal, and this doesn't have any of those little raggedy fillers in it.
The raggedy fillers.
It's good stuff.
So if you want to check out Ned, if you're on your period, if you're bleeding this month or next month or any of the months coming up,
Yes.
and you want to check out Ned and try any of their products, we have a special offer for the Black Girl Bravado podcast audience. So go to helloned.com/bravado, or you can enter code bravado at checkout for 15% off your first one-time order. Or they have a super cool membership where you can get 20% off your first subscription and free shipping. So that's HELLONED.com/bravado to get 15% off your first one-time order or 20% off your first subscription plus free shipping. So thank you, Ned. You guys are the best. We love you. So happy to be a part of the Ned family.
Yes. Now let's get back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say something like, if you think something like, oh my God, I have social anxiety, right? And so you're preparing yourself to go out to a function, where you're going to be around a lot of people, and you're already having your mind, I have social anxiety. And then when you get to the function and people aren't fucking with you, or your anxiety is taking over you, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you've told yourself that something was going to happen. You got there and you have gotten that result.
Right.
And it's a cycle all the time, because you like put momentum behind it. But not all self-fulfilling prophecies are negative or undesirable. Sometimes they can produce virtuous circles.
Come on.
Or positive desired outcomes. And that's ultimately what we want. We want to make these self-fulfilling prophecies work to our benefit.
Yeah.
So instead of them hindering us and causing anxiety or disappointment, we want to flip it on its ass.
The manifesting.
And make these prophecies give us some positive results or outcomes.
Yeah. And okay, really quickly before we get into more, have you had any experience with virtuous circles or vicious cycles or circles?
Yeah, I've had experiences with both.
Okay.
So a lot of the times, the vicious cycles, I feel like, are subconscious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not something that I'm mindfully doing. It's just something that just happens. So what's an example of this that I can share personally? I feel like it's for sure happened like with an interview before.
Okay.
Like if I've been to interviews where I felt like I for sure don't know this job. Like, you know, like they called me.
Or like a test.
Yeah, like they called me. I'm here. I got the interview somehow, but I don't feel 100% confident in being able to do the position. And so already before I get to the interview, that's the thoughts or the words or the self-talk that I'm engaging in. Like, God damn, they're going to ask me something. I'm not going to know how to answer it. They're going to be able to tell that I'm not that versed in this position, and then I'm not going to get a call back. And then I end up not getting a call back because I'm sure that's what I projected in the interview. And that's the way
you act in the interview. Like you don't know what the fuck going on. Right. You can't answer. You can't address the concerns.
Exactly. Instead of being confident and finessing.
The finesse. That's how I got my job.
And then finessing, which I have done before, which can be the virtuous circle where I went into a situation like, you know, that can be as simple as, you know what, tonight I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna have a good ass time. We gonna be lit. We gonna dance. You know, it's gonna be a magical time. And so if I go out with that attitude, and that's usually the type of day or night that I have when I'm like, it's gonna be a fun ass night. Niggas gonna be on us, whatever.
Yeah.
And then
we turning up.
Yeah, I remember I used to do that all the time as a youngin'. Like, we gonna go out, we gonna get. It was like a thing to get numbers.
Oh, really?
Yes, like we gonna go out, we gonna get numbers. Like, okay, we gonna get numbers, pulling and then like niggas. We'll come
Remember
home.
pulling. Like I'm a
pulling niggas. Yeah. So whenever I would go out with that vibe, I would be pulling niggas coming home with numbers. Like, girl, we got these numbers. Da 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 da.
Never do nothing with them.
Of course, I wasn't thinking like this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I just had claimed how the day was going to be, and that's the energy. If I go out feeling confident like a bad bitch, of course I'm going to be pulling niggas and getting numbers. Yeah. If I go out like, oh my God, I'm not going to be pulling niggas.
Then you're going out
none of the niggas are going to be looking at me. You know, I'm going to be giving off that energy like subconsciously, you're not looking at me, don't look at me, I'm not having a good time, don't come over here. So for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like also self-fulfilling prophecy is kind of like worst case scenario vibes,
Yeah,
people who think like, who are really worriers and
that
go
could
to
be me too.
that's me, like who goes like all the way to the left with it. My vicious circle is usually like I'll immediately start going like all the way to the left if I don't hear from somebody that I care about, or like, for example, I told you, on Sunday, I was, me and my, I'm just gonna say boyfriend.
Okay. Say it.
I know, I'm struggling. My go to Patreon if you want to hear more about that.
Right.
My boyfriend and I had got back. Wow, that was weird. My boyfriend.
Now your tongue tied.
my boyfriend
Twister.
and I. My boyfriend and I had gotten back from Joshua Tree, and on Sunday we had like departed, right, going our separate ways. He was going home, and I was going home, and he teaches me like the necessary lesson of like being apart, and we'll come back and it's cool. Like we don't always talk like back and back to back.
So
right?
autonomy.
We a lot of autonomy, yes,
Okay.
which I'm learning to like, and it's good, right?
Because
So
before you liked more stage 4
stage
clinger.
5 is actually 5.
Stage 5 clinger.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, like I want to know, like let me know as soon as you get home, and because I want to know you're safe, because I'm a worrier, right? And I'm always thinking something could happen on the way home. I just take my mind there, and when I got home, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get settled, he's gonna get settled. Subconsciously, I was probably like, I want you to tell me that you made it, but I was like chilling, like I'm unpacking my shit. I'm sure he's doing the same, and at like 11:30, I FaceTimed him and he didn't answer, and I'm like, Lord. He drove us all the way back from Joshua Tree, and then we went here and he went there. And I was like in this cycle in my mind of becoming anxious, of like, yo, what if he got into an accident and nobody knew, and now they didn't think to call me, and now he's in the hospital.
I do that. I've done that before
It turned
too.
into a whole
and
thing.
It's like you're mentally preparing yourself to show up to a funeral and all black.
Or the hospital running in
Yeah.
there like fucking, I don't
Sick.
even, like,
Yeah.
like I'm the wife. I'm just like, why? So I was like, trying not to worry myself. So I just was able to relax a little.
Then you're checking social medias and
I was just like, let me take my ass to sleep.
social media activity.
I said, he's probably gone to sleep. I need to rest too.
Yeah.
So I went to sleep, and then the next morning when he's like, good morning, boo, I'm like, Lord, thank God you're alive. And I didn't say thank God you're alive, but
To him.
yeah. And then I was thinking, I don't want to put this anxious energy onto him. Like, damn, this bitch is a fucking worry wart. Right? You know what I mean? So that's a part of my like 6 cycle, the way that I do like get into a phase about myself and like be anxious. But I will say, well, we'll talk about how this shows up in relationships later, because the way that this kept popping up in my mind, I was like, ooh, I can only think of one way.
Yeah.
The cheat.
Right.
We're going to get there.
So there are 2 types of self-fulfilling prophecies. There are the types where the self, where we make these predictions about ourselves and they come true. But there's also other imposed, and this is when someone makes a prediction about your life and it comes true.
And all of this is really based on expectation and then action.
And result.
Right. So
expectation, behavior, result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or like what I'm saying, action, I'm saying like the action of the person whose the expectations being put on.
Exactly.
So like, for instance, like your parents, right? This is a really, really, really the way I would explain other fulfilled prophecy, right? So it's like our parents want us to be whatever it is that we want to be, and thus we act accordingly, and then we turn into what it is that they want us to be. That's what I was going to say. But there's another example.
There's also an example of, say, for instance, this is another imposed example. So you're going to take the test. Let's just say an SAT test.
Okay, come on.
And see, I was already about to do a self-fulfilling prophecy on myself. I was about to be like, I'm horrible at tests. But anyway, so you're preparing to take a test, right? You done pulled up to the location of the SAT test. And when you're on the way into the building, your mom hits your phone. And she's like, you guys are talking about you getting ready to take the SAT test. And she's like, yeah, I know you struggle with test taking and it causes you a lot of anxiety. I wouldn't even be surprised if you got a bad score, something along those lines. Like, don't even be surprised. It's kind of expected because you're not good at taking tests. So this can cause you to be flustered, even though you've studied super hard, you've prepared yourself for the test ahead of time, but because of this conversation that you've had with your mom, and she's like put these thoughts into your head, you're flustered and you're struggling with taking the test, which ultimately would lead you to getting a low test score.
Right.
And this is the other imposed self-fulfilling prophecy, because your mom predicted that your anxiety and your bad test taking skills would have an effect on you, and it did.
Yeah.
And these other imposed self-fulfilling prophecies happen all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, even in school, right? Teacher relationships, dynamics, where there's a student in the class and the teacher maybe gravitates this one student who they already believe is a better
bright
student.
Yeah,
great student. They love to say bright.
Bright.
A student who's excelling and they're showing improvement, and they just are bright, like you said. And then there might be a student who maybe not so bright, a little dull.
Yeah.
And then they're giving a lot of extra attention, tutoring, nurturing, comfort, compassion, empathy, whatever it is, to the bright student.
Yes.
And thus the bright student excels.
Yeah.
And then they're not giving that same attention and energy into the student who they don't feel it might be as bright, or maybe they're not outwardly expressing that this student is as bright. And thus, because the patient, my God, work, because the student is not getting that same attention and care, then they don't excel. Of course
they don't excel.
Right. And you see that, you see that all the time.
Especially in our underserved communities.
Yes.
And that's the problem that a lot of people have with these public schools, is because the system, the teachers already have these preconceived ideas about the students there, the disadvantaged students.
Yeah.
And they're not giving them the same care, the same resources.
Yeah.
And then we're not on this level playing field with the students who are perceived as bright because they have parents with money and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And it's because we weren't given the same shit.
It's really systemic.
Yes.
Other fulfilled prophecy. What is it?
Self-fulfilled?
No. Other imposed. Other imposed is what I want to say. Other imposed prophecy, fulfilling prophecy. It reminds me of just like systemic racism, like, you know, and just being disadvantaged and not having the opportunity to prove that you can excel if given the same resources.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like people treat certain people a certain way, right? Say white people automatically treat people of color or black people or a marginalized group as like a stereotype. Thus, they don't ever give them the opportunity to prove like, hey, we're not a stereotype.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they further their belief about the person because they didn't give them an opportunity to prove them wrong.
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Dumb as fuck. I hate it.
This also shows up in relationships a lot.
Now, honey, this is where I was like,
yeah, this shows up in relationships a lot. So a common example of this showing up in relationships is if you have a partner, right? And you're insecure. You're insecure.
No Molly. No
You're
Lisa.
insecure, and the partner is great. They haven't done anything to make you think otherwise. But because of your insecurities, you're constantly accusing them of cheating, thinking they don't want to be with you, and it becomes too much for them. Like the accusations, the insecurity, trying to reassure you that they're here for you and everything's okay, and they're like, "I'm breaking up with you." And then that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you already were insecure and thought that you weren't worthy of the relationship, which is why you were accusing them of cheating.
And acting the way you were acting.
Right. And now they did break up with you, but it's because you pretty much predicted it and caused it to happen. And it kind of gives, sometimes, even if they don't break up with you, sometimes it gives a false permission for people to go out and do the things that you've accused them of doing. Because it's like, if you're going to accuse me of doing the shit anyway, I might as well do it. Keisha Cole.
I might as well
have cheated on you. Ooh. Now, we're not talking about if you're dealing with a sneaky motherfucker. We're talking about genuinely being insecure.
Right.
And accusing your partner of doing you dirty when they're not. Which can ultimately lead to the demise of a relationship.
And this is why when it's broken, let it go. Don't try to piece it back together.
You were the accusee or accused?
The accuser. I was the accusee. I was the accusee, and I'm like, baby boy, If you gonna be in this with me, then you gotta act accordingly. But it's frustrating. You know, it's like it's not gonna work.
It's like I can't even, like, I'm literally not doing anything, and I still have to prove myself.
Now that is the proving.
Yeah.
It's the proving for me where I'm like, bro, I can't live my life like this. We better off apart. Like you thought that we shouldn't be together because I'm cheating on you. Now we really ain't gonna be together because I'm not cheating on you, and I ain't gonna be going through hell trying to prove that I'm not cheating on you.
Right? It's stressful.
It's a Don Dada.
Yeah.
I hate it. Have you dealt with that in a relationship?
No. I feel like a nigga know I don't be cheating on him because nigga know I'm loyal.
Oh shit. Sometimes it ain't even about that. It's about these niggas being insecure.
I know,
people
but
being insecure.
Well, I guess I've just never dealt with an insecure man before.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no, that never happened to me before.
And you know why? I feel like because I was kind of like cheating.
Okay, well, bitch.
No, but I'm saying it wasn't like a cheat. It was like a entertaining. There was a break in trust. A break in trust.
Which, okay, so you can't fully fault.
No, there's a fully fault because it dissipated, the relationship ended, and you chose to come back.
Okay, so
now that we're on a fresh start and the slate is clean, I don't want you telling me, are you cheating? Are you out there doing this or doing that? Then we shouldn't be together.
Yeah, I will say at that point, if you know you can't handle it and you can't, if the trust is really broken and you can't forgive and
then you have to heal and leave.
Then you have to just leave it alone because it's not fair to continue to torture someone once you've made the conscious decision to continue to be in the relationship despite what may have already occurred in the past.
That's why I'm like, actually, you shouldn't be with me.
Because what if the person really has decided to turn a new leaf and no longer be a cheater?
And my leaf was turned. And that's what I'm saying. My leaf was turned. I never went back.
Yeah.
So it's like, Anyway, so y'all know we have to offer tips.
Oh, you know, one thing, another way that this shows up is in the workplace, which I thought was a good example. Mm-hmm. Remember you were talking about how you knew someone who was like, felt like all their coworkers were attacking them or against them, like because they were the only black person there. And
oh yeah, baby. Now that nigga.
This can happen with self-fulfilling prophecies out in the workplace, either thinking that everyone's discriminating against you, which we know that motherfuckers do be discriminating.
Yeah,
not saying that at all. But sometimes because we have these preconceived notions that I'm the only black person here, everybody's going to be discriminating against me. Sometimes we behave in certain ways
to be discriminated against.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like being hella aggressive or doing too much, like making it a hard time in the workplace, specifically in that situation. Not saying all the time, but specifically in that situation that you have mentioned. Or also sometimes, where we feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. I'm not good enough for this job. And then you're underperforming. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. And then you end up getting fired.
Yeah. So. You know what? I feel like, I was about to say something. Now I lost my train of thought. But I feel like when people have that kind of like, well, I dealt with somebody. Hot in here. Yeah, it is. I dealt with somebody who had a very like pessimistic, like kind of woe is me. And I feel like their whole life is like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And it probably is, because that's what this is. This is all about your thoughts and controlling your thoughts. Because if we constantly have a pessimistic attitude about outcomes,
everything is like, then I had a horrible day. I had this, I had to deal with that. No, and then the police, and then I got pulled over. And now it's about,
that's the lens that we're looking.
I'm like,
through our day to day through.
How are you a glass half full type of motherfucker?
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm a glass half full type bitch.
Right.
So it is different. But anyway, yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about how to break this cycle. Because again, we know that we can use self-fulfilling prophecies to our benefit by just changing our thoughts. And so one thing we want to do is get rid of the absolute all or nothing language, like always, never, can't have, like I'm not good at this, I'll always fuck up.
Yeah.
I can't do it. This isn't for me. And just open your mind up to other possibilities instead of closing it off with negative, often irrational beliefs. Mm-hmm. Because when you say never, can't, like
that's so final, permanent.
It is. And it's often irrational because you can if you just do something different sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? So
also, next tip is to trust yourself and other people. People are not out to get you, and contrary to your belief, you're not out to get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have your best interest at heart. And there's some good people out here who aren't out to fucking fuck you. from the
Yeah.
front or the back. You have to learn to trust people and lean in and lean on.
Yeah.
Stop acting ghetto.
Trusting yourself is important because this is when we're going to use our intuition and we're going to use
Yes.
our discernment so that we can make sound decisions and not just be doing anything just to be doing it.
Floating in the wind.
Also release the need for control. Self-fulfilling prophecies, like we said, are definitely an attempt to control situations because you think you're controlling an outcome when you really can be manifesting an outcome that you don't want.
Yeah.
With this false sense of control. So if we release this need for control and stop thinking about having these thoughts of outcomes that we don't want to happen, we'll realize that we're getting more of what we want instead of what we don't want.
Yes. Next, don't dismiss your emotions. Now, we're not saying to just be like, fuck it, I'm anxious, I'm not a people person, the job is really discriminating against me. We're not saying to just say fuck things that might really be happening and not processing and dealing with what you're feeling. We're not saying that at all. Definitely take on what you're feeling, internalize it, but you have to learn to move through it.
Yeah,
right?
Don't let it control you. Don't let your emotions control you. We're not dismissing them, but we're also not letting them control us.
Understand where you stand on a situation, how you feel, and then move forward.
Yes.
Period. Pooh.
Also, keep your expectations in check.
Mm-hmm.
This is simple. What are we expecting? When we expect negative subconsciously, it's like we have to tap in and be more mindful. Really, this is about being mindful as we're moving through life, because like we said with the self-actualization, once we're being more mindful, we'll realize that we're more tapped in, tuned in to ourselves, and that's when you start to get different outcomes, because it's like, why would I expect the worst? Like, why am I thinking that the worst is going to happen? And if I am thinking that the worst is going to happen, I should be able to reverse that thought and think that the best is going to happen. Because,
and that's exactly what I have to do when my mind gets to going.
Yeah.
I'm like, sis, he's home in bed. It's okay.
It's okay.
You don't got to think he's hanging off of a cliff
or
in a fucking emergency
sleep.
room.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so extreme. You don't have to take it there.
Right.
I'll be like, wow, my family, everybody just died on me. And now here I am left alone.
Yeah.
It'll go somewhere else. But yeah, that's good. Manage your expectations. Keep them in check. Lastly, strengthen your mindset. Like we said, this is all about being mindful. This is all in the power of your thoughts. We have to remember that we have the power to make different choices, and we have the desire. We can change our desired outcomes. This is about agency and ability, right? We're really more in control over what we're thinking and what comes to us than we think.
We are.
You know? And we don't have to settle for less.
We don't. And some of us may be in different stages, and we may need more help with the process that it takes to change your thoughts. We're not saying that it's just super easy to do, because it's not always easy to do. But there's things that you can do to help, which are therapy.
Being intentional.
First of all, just being aware, which is why we bring different topics to the show, because awareness is the first step to changing some shit and doing things differently.
Awareness is the main step.
It is.
Because the more you're aware and the more that you're like tapped in to what you're feeling and, just taking inventory of it, then you can check it when it shows up.
Yeah, like, being able to put a name to it, it definitely helps me a lot. I'm like, oh, that's like, I remember when I first, this is a different subject, but when I first found out about codependency, I'm like, so that's what the fuck that is. Mm-hmm. Now that I know what it is, I can actively make progress to not be codependent or not be in situations where there's codependency, because I'm aware of what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, you can give it language.
Yes.
So,
that's really it.
Short and sweet.
To
the point.
For this week. It's you versus you.
And that's what we'll be ending it.
That's how we bring it back around each and every time. Mm-hmm. It's you versus you. And that's empowering in itself, knowing that this is something that you can stop. And you can also stop when other people try to impose these prophecies on you. You can be like, actually, I'm not taking that. I'm not accepting that. That's what you think, but that's not something that I have to own.
And you know what else? The other imposed prophecy, fulfilling prophecy is a lot of the reason why we feel like we're failing at life, because society, our parents, everybody else has told us, hey, you have to be doing this, you have to be doing that. And when we don't do it, then we feel terribly.
Exactly.
You know, like, oh, you should be married. Actually, I want to have grandkids. You should be married by this age.
Yeah.
And then when you're not doing it,
you think something's wrong with you.
You think something's
but
wrong
it's like
with you.
that's an expectation that you set, and that doesn't have to be my reality just because that's the expectation that you have in your mind for me, which is crazy.
Yes.
Like, how are you over there creating all these expectations for me? Worry about the expectations that you're setting for yourself, and you create that path and follow it. Yes. But as for me in my house, I'll handle it. Shit.
And you can get the fuck out.
You can go.
Period.
This is a tiny house.
Me only. Me and the dog.
That's all for this week, ladies. I don't think I have a dream this week.
I don't either, but we'll have one next week.
We will.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.